All right, welcome back. The 57-page indictment against Mayor Eric Adams includes images, text messages, and flight records.
So if convicted, Mayor Adams could face 45 years in prison. So joining us this morning to give us her legal insight into the indictment is criminal defense attorney Bernarda Villalona. So good morning to you. Always great to see you.
Good morning. Good morning.
I mean, my head is spinning. It really is. The mayor's arraignment, though, is expected today. It happened at noon today, but there was a request to have it pushed to Monday. And this is coming from a guy who says he wants to go to trial as soon as possible. So can you explain all the back and forth? What could possibly be happening that they would want to delay?
First off, I'm a bit confused as to how things went down, because usually with the unsealing of an indictment, you will ordinarily have that person already in custody, because you don't want to unseal indictment and risk that that person will flee, will leave the jurisdiction, and you can't take him into custody. So, for example, last week when Sean Puffy Combs, he was arrested, and then the indictment was unsealed because there was a risk of flight. But here we have the complete opposite, where U.S. Attorney Damian Williams unsealed the indictment yesterday, and then now is giving Mr. Adams an opportunity to surrender himself. Either way, what we have, the first time that he appears before a magistrate is called a first appearance, where he will finally be told exactly what the charges are formally, his constitutional rights. He will plead guilty or not guilty. Of course, he's going to plead not guilty. And then there will be the discussion as to whether there will be a detention hearing or whether the U.S. attorney is going to consent for Mayor Adams to be released on bond. I think, of course, he's going to be released on bond, because if there was a concern of flight, he wouldn't have unsealed the indictment prior to an arrest.
Now, Bernarda, this is a very detailed, oriented indictment. You've combed through all 57 pages. What is standing out most to you at this point?
Oh, the extensive investigation that was done by law enforcement, and especially when I read this indictment, it is very clear that law enforcement has a lot of electronic trail. They followed the electronic trail in having to deal with computers and text messages and email messages. And it's quite clear also that they do have people that are cooperating in this investigation that are part of Mayor Adams' inner circle. So that's very concerning for Mayor Adams, because you don't know who is it exactly that is cooperating for the law enforcement to be able to have this inner information that was kept so secular into that small circle of yours.
Yeah, I mean, when you heard what the mayor said yesterday, he said, you have to hear my side of the story first. His personal attorney, Alex Spiro, he claims the U.S. attorney, quote unquote, cobbled together this case to paint a false picture of corruption. He also insists that prosecutors left out very important details. So let's listen to what he has to say, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
But they left out something very important, something you will soon see, which is that there are emails with Mayor Adams telling this staffer, telling all of them, do not take foreign money, period. That's in emails. You will see those. And so they pivot away from that.
So what do you think about that?
Quite honestly, I wouldn't be making comments in the press until I have all the information, because those comments can be used against Mayor Adams, even though it's coming from the attorney, if the government is able to connect it to Mayor Adams as the form that he adopted those statements. That information that attorney is stating, either way, will be considered something called Brady, something to exculpate Mayor Adams. And they have a duty to present that to the grand jury if that such information exists. If not, they risk that this whole case can be dismissed with prejudice. So I highly doubt that the U.S. attorney is going to willing to risk that the prosecution of Mayor Adams by not turning that information over. And also, when we're talking about an indictment, the indictment doesn't have to list every single detail of every piece of evidence that the government has in their prosecution.
We did see the federal agents at Gracie Mansion early Thursday after that indictment was handed down. What was going on there? Were the prosecutors perhaps still collecting more evidence, do you think?
Absolutely. That was the element of surprise. So when it comes to executing a search warrant, you want that element of surprise where the person is not expecting that law enforcement is going to show up and want to take your electronic devices. Now, yesterday became the third time that Mayor Adams' electronic devices, particularly his cell phone, is being taken from him. So that was the element of surprise that the U.S. Attorney wanted, was to be able to take that cell phone to see what communications Mayor Adams is having with people and with who and the specifics of it. And by executing that search warrant early in the morning when he wasn't expecting it, especially after an indictment has been unsealed, so you would think it's over when it comes to search warrants, he caught him by surprise. So now that's going to be another investigation into that cell phone.
Yeah, and I know that the mayor's team was saying, did they really need dozens of agents to go in there if they were just going to get his cell phones? Bernarda, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us this morning. We always appreciate seeing you.
Thank you.